an Empire Boxing and Unlearning Network production.
Welcome to the Empire Boxing Podcast. I am your host, Jana, and I have my whole squad with me. Jason behind the camera. Jason, please. Handsome Jason. We've got Matt Hoffar of Brickhouse Ventures, Anna Ferrant, the CEO of Empire Boxing, and we've got Dan the master plan, matchmaker extraordinaire, VP, El Presidente himself, straight out of the set of Narcos for tonight's episode.
That's how we roll.
And this is a really fun and exciting episode because what we're going to be talking about is all the things that nobody really knows about. Maybe some things like anecdotal things. Yeah, behind the scenes. We got some good stories for you, some nail biters, and then as per usual, hopefully we end up having a giggle. Anna has some bullet bourbon in a tiny mason jar.
In a mason jar. I got a sour beer over here.
Very organic.
And
organic.
Yeah, an organic.
Don't ever
beer.
get an organic beer.
Raised.
Yeah, and then Jay's on the water because Anna and I were doing a bunch of tequila shots during the show last weekend. Yeah. And
you
I'm just
didn't
not
invite us.
built for that.
Jeez.
We had no time to do anything.
No. Oh, okay.
It was like eye contact with the bartender and they slid the shots over and that was it. It was like one of these. Yeah. So that was it.
Quick and dirty.
Yeah. So let's get it rolling. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right. I want Anna and Dan to kind of start it off, and I want you guys to give us this sort of superhero origin story of Empire Boxing as it exists, the company.
I was actually thinking about it today. So Empire is our second company together. Our first one was Alliance, and I remember the day that we met was at the BC Boxing Provincials, and I had this crazy life goal. I had just been working with Lululemon. You know how they make you do like the goals?
BHAGs.
Oh, yeah.
And all that stuff, yeah.
And so one of my goals written down was to host a professional boxing show. And I'd just done an amateur one, but I knew there was like a missing piece to the story. Like I love throwing events. I love cultivating the community, but just like that professional boxing, like integrated understanding, the matchmaking. I mean, it's a whole different world, right? And so I put that out into the universe to sound esoteric, but I did. And then I was volunteering at Provincials and I ran into Dan. We met for the first time and it was literally like the first thing that came out of my mouth to him. And I don't even know why, honestly.
She just blurted it.
Yeah, like me, some random person, like, hello, I would like to host a boxing
She didn't
match.
even say hi. She just blurted it out.
Just like put my hand forward. Yeah. But I swear to God, he was like, me too. And he was like you're the missing link to me.
He didn't say it, but Anna heard him say it.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if I said
His
that.
mouth
I don't know
was
if I
shut.
said
Anna
that.
heard me too.
Yeah.
It's a boxing love story.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But real talk, I was the missing link on that side in terms of like marketing. And it was, I mean, you tell it from your side. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like...
Right?
Totally different.
You tell the truth.
Dan was like,
Yeah,
who is this woman?
Yeah, no, yeah, we did discuss that, and it was something that a former partner of mine and we were planning, and I knew that we had a missing piece to the whole promotion side, because you definitely need marketing, you know, and I remember I came across All City Athletics, and I was like really impressed with the marketing. And right away, I knew I had to meet you. And this is actually before we even had that talk. So
that's what I'm saying.
I already knew who you were, and I already knew that I wanted to approach you about what we were doing. Wow. And it just so happened when I saw her, she just kind of brought it up. And I'm like, yeah, you know, and it was so like...
And we're like, well, let's do it then.
Yeah, let's do it.
I did. And so for those who... I can't imagine there's anyone who doesn't know, but for those who may not know, Anna was the original founder and owner of All City Athletics, built that incredible community from scratch. So when we talk about community building and like brand building, Banana is
very generous.
The queen.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah,
Thank
100%.
you.
Hands down. And then... Dan, at what point in that did the tattoo come into play?
All right, now
Hold on,
I
we
have
haven't
a few.
even got to the tattoo yet. We haven't even hosted our first.
No, I'm ready for the tattoo though.
And you're dropping that.
I'm ready though.
Oh,
so
man.
Dan has a tattoo on his calf. Maybe he'll show you. Maybe he won't.
Well, it'll be in the Instagram post. For the
this will be in the highlight reel. Can you find a clip of his calf
100%.
and then? Cause you got nice calves too. So don't be shy.
Yeah, I've skipped leg day a couple times, but thank you.
Okay, so sorry. So let's go back.
Alliance.
Yeah, Alliance and boxing, and you guys when did you run your first show, and what was that experience like?
2019.
Yeah, the last few years as a player.
Yeah,
so
I
I
don't
don't
know,
even know
right?
It
what
would have
year
been
was
because
what.
I was there at the Granville
Yeah.
Casino. So what was
Yeah.
that?
That was our second
2019?
show.
Yeah, that
Okay.
was our second one.
Okay, so that must
we
have been
did
2018 then?
two, maybe end of 2018. I can't remember, but we did
Yeah.
2 professional and then 2 amateur ones under Alliance together. And yeah, it was amazing. I mean, like we all know, and especially after this last fight, throwing a boxing fight is crazy. Like shit comes up all the time. The variables that we dealt with, albeit not as bad as the one for Reloaded.
Stay tuned for more.
But
Yeah.
we're just completely, it was just wild, right? And it's
Yeah.
just like that feeling of pulling it off, and then all of the ethos of what we wanted to bring
Yeah.
to the boxing community for professional boxers was just so rad to see it come to life. And I think we were both, I think we both just fell in love with it. Like I think from there,
Yeah,
it was
for
really
sure.
like we were full steam ahead. And then, 2020, our show was March
20th, right?
20th,
Yeah.
Yeah.
2020. And
world shut down on
we
the
were at
12th?
the Hard Rock Casino. I was in
Yep.
Hawaii trying not to cancel the show. Like we were delusional at that point. We were like, no, we're good. Like it's fine.
I think we all were hoping
of
for the
course.
best.
And then when we
Yeah.
had to cancel it, that was like a pretty. It's interesting, right?
Devastating.
It was
Like,
devastating.
absolutely
It was totally
devastating. Yeah.
devastating. We were having that momentum and growing,
Yeah.
but it wasn't. It wasn't perfect. There were things behind the scene that were not helpful, and like there was
Yeah.
a disintegration of like some relationships amongst our partnership, not obviously with me and Dan. And so from that crumbling,
Out of the
Empire
ashes.
out of the ashes. And that's the thing is like, yes, it sucked and it was painful and we
Yeah.
lost like a couple of years, but what happened was the birth of Empire. And like, how cool is that, right? Like to be able to have formed that from something that was just so
Yeah,
tragic
totally.
for
So
us.
as that sort of started to kind of melt away, you guys stayed a team, like a unified front,
Yeah.
and you were like, we got to keep going.
For sure.
You're
There's
like,
no quit.
quitting
There's
is
no
not
quit
an
in
option.
this.
You know what though is funny is that Dan was getting antsy. Like
Yeah.
it was pandemic. It was, I needed a moment. Like I also owned the boxing gym at that time. And Dan was just like, well, I'm starting another business then. And he started Seconds Out, which was like the only time that I think we've ever had a disagreement.
Yeah.
I was just like legit had FOMO. I was like jealous that he was starting a business without me, that I was just like, I was like mad at you. It was literally the only time.
How dare you?
And if
We
for
have
the-
like the brother-sister relationship. you know, so
yeah.
But that
it's all
time,
love.
he started Seconds Out, and then we obviously like incorporated it into Empire.
Yeah. And then, so tell us about Seconds Out. How did that come to be? And explain to those who may not know what Seconds Out is.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously with the pandemic, right? Gyms are closing. There's no way to really work out. And, being the genius that I am, I'm like, what if we do something online and we can teach people online, right? Because I never really saw anything like that. But the
This
thing
is
that
before
happened,
everyone
It
else
is
did
before
it.
you can't not
Exactly.
see it now.
That's
But
that's
it
where I was
was.
gonna.
Yeah.
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 And then and then the floodgates opened, and then everybody had the same idea. So it was a bit challenging. But having you involved, like, really, really sets us apart from a lot of those other companies. So
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah.
Jana's
so
the
we
shit.
incorporated it through just absorbing it into the brand of Empire.
Wicked.
yeah,
But along the way, I mean, we had met Matt to do that
was my
show
next
that was
question. I
canceled.
was like, let's introduce Matt Hoffar,
The Hoffman.
the Hoff Daddy.
He was
Hoff
a
Daddy.
client at All City. Yeah, he was coming to boxing classes, and that's how we connected, was through Brick House and being an advisory for Brick House.
yeah.
And what about Matt? What about him sort of attracted you and thought, man, this is someone we need to bring on board?
It was more that Matt was very relentless in approaching. And I was
guy?
like, yeah, you met Matt, right?
This guy.
Like when he wants something, he usually goes and gets
He,
it.
Yeah.
The Matt attacks everything like
a
he
bull.
attacks that piece of gum in his mouth.
So honestly, it was just like enough of him kind of just like probing and reminding. And then when I actually was able to like sit down and look at like what he was doing and the people that he was involved with, I was like, this is now our missing link. Like me and
Yeah.
Dan can only do so much on our own. And Matt
Yeah.
was bringing to the table something that we had talked about,
Yeah,
but
a whole
we weren't,
nother element.
we just didn't have the skill set, like the technology component, the financial understanding, like to be able to craft things for investment and like just a whole entire different world So for us, we were like, that is our missing piece is to
get
be
to the
able to have
next level.
someone to tie it all together in a way that's way more professional.
Totally.
And then Matt, what was that? What was it about kind of Anna, Dan, what you saw at All City, and kind of in the back of your mind what you thought Brick House could bring to it?
I think with them, it's that what they talked about, the determination and that perseverance. When COVID hit, they didn't just buckle, right? It was like it went into problem-solving mode right away. And like any entrepreneur that I've ever worked with, that's kind of the key component, right? Is your business is always going to change, always going to hit roadblocks. But if you can figure out ways to keep evolving, then you'll survive and eventually, hopefully, like thrive, right, and grow. And we as Brickhouse were looking for different partnerships for some of our internal companies, which was TGS was one of them that we thought could help Anna and Dan. That was even previous to us.
And then just tell everyone what TGS is.
Yeah, TGS is an esports production company, but they can produce live stream shows. So it's not limited to esports. And they were going to work together on the March 20th show with Alliance to help
R.I.P.
broadcast it, right? Yeah. R.I.P. Yeah.
May that event rest in peace.
So and if you've seen Under the Lights, right? They did Under the Lights as well. But they definitely did the Resurgence.
Yeah.
And Under the
So
Lights.
if you've seen, so if you've seen
you.
Under the Lights, if you've seen Resurgence, TGS was with us in
Yeah,
that.
they were the
Production.
production crew
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now I got a phone call from Anna in August.
In 7th
Somewhere
of
between
November.
August.
Yeah.
I think it was in the summer for sure.
Somewhere
Yeah.
between September
The summer between September and December.
It was definitely summer. I was living in Los Angeles at the time, and
For
I was
sure.
sweating my ass off because I remember that day specifically. It was like I had this like thing where I just had to be outside all the time because I'm Canadian, right? So I was like, it's never enough sun, and I was like 97 degrees. I'm out there on the phone sweating, chatting with Anna. And that was the first time I kind of heard of what you guys were doing, specifically from the on-demand front. Seconds Out was mentioned, and and I thought, yeah, I can get behind this.
Oh yeah, I had you pegged.
And then what was
Anna and I, we got to get this.
give her a microphone. She's in a camera. She's happy. But like, yeah, that was really interesting to me because obviously the business that I was working with at the time, like it was all on demand, nonstop. So I was 2 feet in that pool.
Very comfortable.
Very comfortable. And also just like I found a bit of a groove. I was like, oh, I like this. I was like, I like doing this.
You like being on camera?
I like it. Yeah. Yeah. I know, right? It's weird. But then there was also like in the back of my mind, I had always had this kind of sneaky goal. I probably never really, not even a goal, but I was like, man, like I would love to be involved in the business of boxing, And I think when I went to LA, I was like, I wanted to turn pro.
Yeah.
And I was like, where else in the world am I going to do this but here? And then COVID hit and it, foiled everyone's plans. But in that time, I was like, how do I feel fulfilled in boxing and have a long career? How do I have longevity? Because pro boxing, like it's a timeline.
Yeah, there's a window.
Yeah.
Yeah, physically and also like I always knew I wanted to push in my career more than necessarily putting that on the back burner and doing a sport as a career. I just I didn't quite feel like that was me. But anyways, I was like, okay, this is cool. This is in the back of my mind, something that's crossed my mind a million times and never thought I would ever see the opportunity to get involved in something like this. Never mind join the Avengers.
That's right.
As
True that.
we're commonly known now.
Commonly, just from one
Thanks,
person.
Yeah.
J.Y. Kim.
Yeah,
J.Y.
we're running with
Yeah.
it now.
Yeah.
So,
Shout
you
out
know,
to J.Y.
It's
shout
official.
out to J.Y. Kim. Yeah. So, that's kind of how it evolved for me. And then I moved back to Vancouver, literally was unpacking boxes and watching Under the Lights on my laptop with a Negroni.
Yeah.
And that was the
Nice.
first time I saw what you guys were all doing. I was like,
Magic.
oh.
Sick.
And then the next member of the team, the guy off screen,
Yeah. So
Anna was like, we got to talk to this.
we've been working with Jason
Yeah.
since the
Yeah.
beginning.
Shout out to Ari because Ari's the one that got me connected
Ari
with
Ashari.
Jason.
True.
Yeah.
So Jason, we started with him during Alliance, and
Yeah.
our whole what we love. Over and above the sport of boxing is telling
Yeah.
the story,
Exactly.
right? The story of the fighters, and so like Jason's skill is insane. Like
Yeah.
being able to captivate that in a way that really fits our brand and is reflective of like stylistically like what we want to bring to the table. And
Totally.
so that was just like an absolute no brainer. So
Well, the thing about Jason is he's a boxing fan. So you don't
makes
have
such a
to
difference.
really teach him anything about boxing because he's already a boxing enthusiast. He trains boxing. He's diving into the
Good
boxing
pad holder.
coaching. Yeah.
Great pad holding.
Awesome pad work. So, and then he has his own skill set. So you put all those together and then, you get Empire, the whole vibe.
Yeah, like, it's true though. I think it's because he knows it so well that he captures the nuances, and he just so clearly and artistically brings.
Yeah, he appreciates it.
Yeah,
and its reflection.
Totally.
In his work. Yeah,
yeah, and that's key. And so all of our behind the scenes with our fighters, you know, leading up to the fights, anything on Instagram, like the reels and stuff, that's Jason. That's Jason's handiwork. Yeah. So shout out to Jason.
All the fighters love Jason because Jason makes
them look so good. I'm still trying to get Jason to make me look as good.
I think Jason's blushing.
But I know, right?
He did make us look pretty good in that one video for Seconds Out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was a good video.
That was cool.
Yeah.
That was the first. That was like the second.
Had you guys even met yet?
No. That was the first time. Yeah, and I think it was like my first week back in Vancouver. I was like, okay, let's do this thing.
And it was love at first sight.
Yeah. Jason he was taken though, right? So.
Yeah. And then the birth of the team.
And the team.
That was it.
The Boxing Avengers were formed.
I want to point out a fun fact. So when I was like about 11 years old.
Oh God.
Are we going back to 11?
Yeah.
Jason, when you're editing this, throw some violin over this.
Are we each?
Do not edit this out.
Do we all start our stories at 11?
Yeah. Have you seen Stranger Things? No, I'm just kidding.
That was about Dan, actually.
So I used to be obsessed with basketball. I used to be a point guard, and I was in a basketball camp, and that's the first time I met Matt because he ran it, and I always used to see him on TV with the Vancouver Grizzlies.
You were 11. That makes you
72.
Yeah. Whoa. So when Anna introduced me to Matt, I'm like, I feel like I know this guy, you know? And then he told me that he worked for the NBA in the past and he worked for the Grizzlies. And then I connected the dots and
Okay,
small world. Small world.
Yeah.
I thought you were going with the story of the commercial that you did.
And your
no. Man. I was hoping you guys wouldn't bring that up. Please don't bring that up.
All right, let's roll.
That was my other career, all right?
Yeah,
Let's just
were
leave
you
it
a
in the
child
past.
actor?
How old were you?
You haven't seen it? No. You haven't
seen his chocolate bar commercial?
Seen it?
No.
Oh, no.
We'll insert
Can
that
you
right
splice
here.
that in?
Can you
Jason,
sing
all
the
right.
song? What is it? It's a rainy
Oh my God,
day.
that's the song?
No, that wasn't me, okay? That wasn't me. I just did the acting
I
without
know.
dialogue,
Hey, Dan,
right?
what was the name of the chocolate bar?
I refuse to accept
What's the
any
name
roles
of
with
the-
What's
dialogue.
the name of the chocolate bar?
Top chocolate.
If you guys
How
could
is
Google
it?
top chocolate
Rain date.
rain date.
Well, I just had my
Hold on.
mind
Yeah.
blown.
You haven't
Oh,
seen
Okay,
shit.
he just wants to
Yeah,
get on
he's
his
gonna look
phone.
it
This
up.
is just an excuse to
I'll
get on his
fact
phone.
check.
Wow. Okay, so Dan was a child actor. Matt was a basketball camp leader.
Yeah.
Matt's like actually 80 and looks way younger
I look
than-
great for 80. So, it's not good.
We're gonna have to find it.
Young
later.
Mario
We're gonna have
Lopez
to
over
have
here.
him.
Yeah, we have to spice that
Okay,
in there.
so-
Moving on. I want to hear from each one of you. If you could so you're in an elevator
Yep.
and you're telling someone about Empire Boxing and you're highlighting like the ethics and the drive and the commitment as a brand and the vision for the brand. Give me your elevator pitch for Empire Boxing. What do you see it as?
Go ahead.
Just like exhaled.
Gives
and
me
you're
a couple more
and
seconds
you're
to
on.
think of it. No, I'm just kidding.
I think from my perspective, it's really, I love being able to create a platform that really honors the sport and honors the stories of the people fighting. Like these people put their
100%.
fucking life on the line.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like boxing is a very special type of person, whether that's corner, woman, man, cut person, like promoters. Like it is a wild and crazy journey. And just being able to really capture that in a way that is aesthetically pleasing,
Yeah.
you know, cinematic,
Stylistic.
just stylistic. Like that to me is what excites me about our brand is being able to create that platform and have like good relationships with people.
Yeah.
Like that's good business for me, right? Like it's like
Yeah.
having authentic, genuine relationships with your vendors, with your fighters, with the commission. Like I think we want to create that as a value set for how we do business.
Yeah. I find it ironic because to me it represents community, bringing people together. You know, like if you saw the reaction of people in the crowd, how happy they were, how happy the fighters were. You know, we're creating a platform that's allowing these fighters' dreams to come true. You know, like, and when they're in the ring and they experience that, you know, it's so fulfilling from my perspective, and that's one of the things that drives me. You know, and there's other things that drive me as well, like how the East Coast thinks, you know, and what JY said. You know, I agree. I get pissed off when East Coast thinks BC's weak and soft when it comes to boxing. So that's another point I want to prove is that
It's a motivating factor.
you know, we have a lot of talent. The only thing we never really had consistently was a platform, and that's going to change. We're going to change the narrative. You know, I think BC is going to be known for boxing, and you know, and it stems from so many different areas, right? For our success, it stems from Boxing BC, from ComSport, because Benit and all these guys come from ComSport, and then we have all these other fighters come from Boxing BC. So shout out to Boxing BC, ComSport. You know, without you guys, we wouldn't have this. And you know, and we're really just carrying the torch, you know, and we're trying to take it to new levels. And I think that we have the team to do it. We have the expertise, and at the end of the day, it's bringing people together. And I think that that's what it's all about. You know, there's no point in bickering and arguing about stupid things. Let's put all our differences aside. Let's, you know, we all have a common goal to take this to a whole new level. And I look at it like a movement, you know, like a movement to change the history of boxing in BC. So
Win-win-win.
yeah, I get passionate. I almost get emotional when I talk about it.
While Dan's drying his tears, Matt, tell us
I'll be
how
back.
do you see Empire Boxing?
I think for me, a couple things that Dan and Anna were saying. One was that changing the integrity around how people, because it was commonly known as like a shady sport with backroom deals and everyone's getting screwed, whereas we're trying to build a relationship with everyone. I think the other cool part was it's a sport where we don't have to change the traditional way boxing is scored, is ran, but we can change the way it's experienced for the fans. And no one else is doing that, right? We're adding technology to our viewing experience. We're adding a better in-house experience. And then also the fact that we're sitting in a room with two women in boxing, like everybody notices it right away, which means we're breaking a barrier right away there. So all those kind of things excite me. So it's like we're a technology-focused, super diverse company. And the other cool thing was there was 8-year-old women at the event. Their dads were introducing them to me. Like, that's pretty cool to see because you don't get that at like
we have a unique crowd. And another thing that I think, you know, I kind of want to change the narrative is this whole A-side, B-side stuff. I find so many promoters, they focus on just building a guy, and they forget about the entertainment value behind boxing and the competitiveness, you know, like,
Amen.
I don't want to be a boxing promoter that's just going to pad records. You know, we're going to put on exciting fights, and we're going to set a tone, a mentality that real fighters fight real fights, you know, like we're not going to baby anybody.
You're not going to fill up the shopping cart with tomato cans.
Exactly. You know, like
the grocery store.
And the other thing too, and it benefits the promotion too, because you get, say, two local guys, a guy from Surrey, a guy from Burnaby, whatever, and you create local rivalries, right? And you get their followings, both sides. You know, for instance, Terrence Valoria, Kadir, look at that. Like a rematch.
What a good fight.
They both have different opinions of who won. It was a draw, right? And that's what excites me, and that's what excites the fans.
What about you, Jen?
Well, and the best part about these kind of rivalries, just to play off that, is like it's all love, though, right? Like it's like
Sport.
it is, but it isn't. You know, like it's like
we're passionate.
Everyone wants to win. Everyone's fan wants to stand behind their athlete, but it's all love. You know, like. And I think that kind of echoes what you guys were saying about like the community, and like we're like the good guys. You know, we're the good guys. I see us as the future. You know, I really do. I see us as the future of Canadian boxing, and I see that not stopping at the north border here. I see that going global, and just bringing an entirely new face, attitude, look to boxing and how boxing is presented for the viewer experience.
North to Greenland. And like,
I don't know. It's real cold.
Should we go south?
Yeah, I like south.
The thing about Empire is we're not just a promotion. We're multifaceted. We have a podcast, working on documentary, fitness platform, boxing, you know, like we have so many different things, and it all connects, you know, and it all supports each other, you know. So I think that whole dynamic is going to push us forward past so many other promoters that are one-dimensional.
Yeah. I want to touch on, we kind of hit a bit of it, but it was like the COVID experience and how different was, because all of a sudden it was like 3, 2, 1, the world's different. And we're trying to do the same thing, but it looks entirely different. The methods, the processes, the extra bits of red tape and things you had to go through. So walk us through that. And like, Dan, this one, you know, there was a lot of like safety plans and
We got
things
really
like that.
good- We got really good at safety
Like,
plans.
I
yeah.
can't even.
So
like,
people don't know this. They don't know like what goes into it.
63 pages.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So walk us through that and how, and also like how you felt during that process. Like, was it like, like nail gripping?
Well, we didn't even like. I think we. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about different governing bodies trying not to have liability for anything is they just keep passing it off.
And no one wants to talk to each other.
Well, no, because nobody wants to take accountability for what you're doing. So it was like between WorkSafe, Health BC, the Vancouver Coastal Health, all these governing bodies,
City.
They went through our plan with like a fine-tooth comb and gave us like the insane feedback, like to the point where for those fights, I knew where every single person was from the moment they walked in, what surface they were touching with their hands, when they would wash their hands, how they would exit, where their stuff was kept. Like every incremental moment,
Yeah, it was insane.
I knew where those people
we
were.
went through rolls and rolls of shiny tape because we had to tell everybody exactly which direction they could go and where throughout the whole
Like-
facility.
We had to have different, this is back when we were so concerned about surfaces. So each surface has a different cleaning agent and a different drying time. So
And a certain brand.
and a certain brand. Like it had to be government
course.
approved for canvas, government approved for bathrooms, government
Tabletops.
approved for plastic.
Yeah.
And they had different drying times. So we had to extend the rounds based off of the
money
drying
we
time.
spent.
You know what I did for that event? I cleaned. All I did was clean the ring for like 5 hours.
So we're launching a new.
And I taped arrows.
we're
for
launching a
hours.
new on-demand through Empire
Yeah.
Boxing Promotions. It's called Janitorial Services with Jana.
It's our 6th division of the company.
Yeah, I know, right?
And she will teach you how to clean
Yeah.
everything.
Anything. And the part,
I
the
can
most
tape
like-
arrows real good.
the part that just was like the kicker was that we were going through all of this and me and Dan were like staying up late at night, like typing up these documents like this. And then it was like the day of, and he calls me and he was like, hey, and these are the texts that I swear to God, anytime it's
All I
like
have
a
to say
week
is,
out,
hey.
he's like, hey, do you have a minute? And I'd be like, what the fuck is it?
Yeah.
And it's like, you can't do this to me. 1 week out from a fight, you have to say what it is.
You can't say, hey, do you have a minute?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
for what? For what?
Yeah.
And so he calls and he's like,
I love adding suspense
Oh, yeah.
unbelievable. He's like,
at her expense.
yeah. He's like, I had a COVID exposure at work and I cannot be at the event.
Yeah.
Sick.
And I literally I just hung up the phone. Like, I was just like, nope. And then just like cried. I needed like a 30
I
minutes.
secretly cried too because I wanted to be there so bad.
So
Yeah.
he would be in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, like
And I had
building
rubber
the
gloves to go get
rubber
papers
gloves.
Yeah.
from Dan.
Oh, man.
Booklets, like stapling them with like a like a boy in a
Behind the
bubble
scenes
suit.
with Empire Boxing Promotions.
Yeah. Only if you knew what happens behind
Yeah.
the scenes.
Wow.
It's
The
crazy.
window open just a little bit.
just to
get
like
paper
take out the forms. Like the amount of the fighters had to show up like 3 hours early to sign so much paperwork.
Yeah.
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 And every person in the facility had to fill out paper.
Oh, yeah.
Everything.
It was
Well,
crazy.
Yeah, one thing that I knew, just based on my experience, is that as long as you could keep addressing whatever concerns and issues they have, and you just keep going, eventually they can't say no, and that's what happened. They couldn't say no
They
to
couldn't
us.
say no, but they didn't say yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So they
Because, yeah.
accepted it,
Yeah.
Right.
but they didn't
Yeah.
approve it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Clever
gosh.
language.
Yeah.
Crazy, right? And then
It was fun.
I mean, I remember the resurgence. I have to. I got to shout out mom and dad.
Oh, man. Yeah, your
Shout
folks
out-
are amazing.
shout out to
Nothing
mom
like
and dad.
having your
Parents are
mom and dad
amazing.
show
Yeah.
up to
Yeah.
work.
They're like our
with you.
boxing mom and
Yeah.
dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for the fans out there, you have two new people to be fans of, the unsung heroes. My mom and dad like
They're
totally
amazing.
helped like everything, like the Lysol wiping, and they were checking in people and temperature checking. They
Feeding
were
us.
yeah.
Or orientating all the people that came in.
Yeah. My mom
Everyone
and
had a site walkthrough.
yeah, mom and dad were key
Champs.
Yeah.
on that on that fight. But this is the best. I think this is the best part of the story, is all the stuff that happens behind the scenes, which brings us
Oh,
to
wait.
Ooh.
What about the fact that our main event fell through
Oh,
that
yeah.
week?
Yeah.
The week of
I was
the
going to
fight.
say, which
week of.
brings
Of
us
course
to worst case scenarios, and I've polled people what they think the worst case scenario would be, and that's the first one that usually people say.
But that was the resurgence.
That was
We
a
lost
resurgence,
it.
which is not, as we've learned, the worst case scenario.
It was
Yeah.
pretty bad.
But let's
Just
touch
when
on
you
that.
think that's
Yeah.
the worst, there's something
There
worse.
is something worse.
Make sure to listen, follow, and subscribe to Empire Boxing on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube.